Freilich in Shushan Purim Rabboisai. We're holding all the way in the bottom of Daf Nun Aleph on the Beis, Mamish 50 Daf into Mesachtes Menachos. Today, Be'ezer Hashem, we're going to finish the famous Perek HaTchelas, Be'ezer Hashem. One of the things, we're talking about the Kones Chachamim, and this has nothing to do with the Sugya, we're just finishing out the Sugya. We're talking about a Kohen Gadol and his Chavitin and what happens when he dies. So one of the things that the Bezdin was Mesakin, Val Para. When there's Tumas Meis, person goes to Levaya, touches the person, he cannot become tar unless we sprinkle him with Para Aduma ashes mixed with spring water. And Chachamim, Val Para Shalayu Moyalim Be'efra Doiraisihi. Be'efra, period. So the Para Aduma's Afer, the ashes, Chachamim were Mesakin that if you use it, and the Gemara is going to say soon, they used it on wounds, they like the ashes are good for different things. If you use it, you're not over. That's what the Chachamim were Mesakin, you're not over on Me'ilah. In other words, you don't have to bring a carbon, you don't have to pay 25%, etc. Ask the Gemara, what do you mean it's a Takana de Rabbanon? The Torah says that there's no Me'ilah, there's no Isser. You probably shouldn't do it, but you don't have to bring a carbon and everything when you use the ashes of a paraduma. How do I see it in the Torah? The Sanya. Chatos the actual paraduma itself, if you use the paraduma itself, you're over Ami'ila. Ba moyalim, be'efra e moyalim, nun beis, omer aleph. It says Mefurish over here that midoiraisa, the Torah, it's not Bezdin that said that there's no Mi'ila on ashes. The Torah says there's no Mi'ila on ashes. Omer Ravashi Shtita Kones Have, very similar to what we said yesterday when it comes to the Kohen Gadol. The Raisa Ba Moyalim Be'efra E Moyalim, you're 100% right. In the Torah it says that there's no concern when it comes to the ashes. There's no Mi'ila. You don't have to bring a carbon if you use it. Kivin the Chazu, the Komizazale Boy. People were mamish treating it disrespectfully. Why? How? Because they used it for their wounds. So Chachamim said, the right the Torah says there's no Me'ilah, we want to make Me'ilah. So the Chachamim said this is not good. This is not good because people are disrespecting. So they said, okay, it's also to use the ashes. But people now were so scared to touch these ashes. Every time you use it a little bit, you have to start bringing hundreds of dollars and then the karbanas and then running to the Beis Hamikdash. So they stopped using it misafik hazois. When a person had some sort of safek tuma, they bring what's safek tuma. So I guess anybody can come up with the safek tuma. A person walks underneath a tree that there's some sort of tuma source underneath, and you think that halachically it spreads, but it depends on how wide the tree is, etc., the branch. So now he's like not so partial. So I don't know if I said this. Given the chazal the compassion misafik hazois, so one of the rises the wind back. So again, the Torah says no me'ilah on afer. People started disrespecting. Chacham said there is me'ilah. That's exactly. And then once we saw that people are so scared to use it, and they had a suffix, they stayed away from it. So they said, you know what? There's no me'ilah on afer. So we had many. We had the whole Masechta Horius. When Bezdin decides that a certain type of chaylev, let's say, is mutter, they make a mistake in halacha. So all of Klal Yisrael together, they have to bring a bull. And if they say that certain avodah zarah is okay, then all of Klal Yisrael have to bring a goat. The question is, where do we get the money for the bull? Where do we get the money from the bull? There's two options. Either we take it from the regular Trumas Halishka, which is the money that we start collecting today. The Machzah Shekel is collected today on Shushan Purim. That's when they start putting out the tables and they start doing the Magbit Mamish today. And this is where we buy the carbon tamid and all the carbonates for the Mizbeach. Or perhaps there's a brand new collection just for this bull. And we force every single Yid in Klal Yisrael that did the Aveira to be part of it, special. I don't understand how that works exactly. Like, let's say everybody gives 25 cents. Isn't it like you're going to have too much money eventually, you know? Okay, however it works. So, you make a brand new. Here we go. Batchila Magbin Lahem says Rabbi Yehuda, there's a brand new magbit. You collect money just for this. No. You don't make it brand new. You get it from the Machzah Shekel. That's the Gemara. It's the reverse. Your Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon are backwards. This is more of a ta of a loyada mashata. It was a mamish mistake. So here we go. So it's backwards. So what do we do when things are backwards? Says the Gemara. Oh, v'napachu. This is like the clowns. What do we learn? That it's Reb Shimon that says we make a brand new collection for the bull. So now, if you notice on my chart over here, I put under the word Reb Yehuda, Reish Yud, I put V'chein Halacha. It's fascinating. We all know Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. We all go to his caver. Goladar, Reb Shimon Bar Yochai wrote the Zohar. No, Allah is like Reb Yehuda. When he argues with Reb Shimon, Allah is like Reb Yehuda. So now we need to know, what did Reb Yehuda say? That's all we care about. We want to know what the halacha is like. So, which one was said last? The one that was said last, that's the one that the Tanaim decided, Reb Yehuda decided, I'm going with this way. So, the thing that this price that we just learned before, that it's Reb Yehuda that says we make a brand new collection, that's the last one. That's the halacha, we make a brand new. Why? Because it makes sense. We said yesterday, the Reb Shimon is concerned about the Yisayimim not paying up the Yisarin, their father, the Kohen Gadol who died, his mincha. We're concerned that people don't care. So how are you going to collect money from all of Klal Yisrael? They're not going to pay up. No, it's not a good taina on Reb Shimon. When does Reb Shimon say that people don't pay up? When people are not connected to it. When Bezin says, you Yisayim have to pay for your father's chavitin. Why? Because you know why? Because it was costing the Beis HaMikdash too much money. It's not my problem, it's your problem. Figure it out. Go collect someone else. Why do I have a chayis? My father already gave his Yisar. Why do I have to pay my father's chayiv? Oh, but obviously every yid wants a kapara. A yid is a yid, and he ate chaylev by mistake. He wants to get the kapara. There's nothing going to prevent him from paying up. My Havala, at the end of the day, do we make a brand new collection, or do we take the money for the parallel davar from Trumas Halishka? As karbani lachmi liishai. It says 3 times about a carbon. Karbani lachmi liishai. What is this? This is the famous pasuk. Where do we say this? We should say it every morning. I try to say this every morning, at least if I don't say karbanas. At least this. Parashas Tamid. So there's a lot of karbanas here. The rabbis parallel davar shel tzibur sirav desire shabar mitrumas halishka. Just like the Tamid comes out of this collection, comes out of the Trumas Halishka, the Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon is the one, the final one, who brings a pasuk that it goes. So mamish, it's going to stay like this. The Trumas Halishka is Reb Shimon, and a brand new collection is Reb Yehuda, and that's the end of the story. Now, we said, I already pointed this out in the Mishnah, but okay, when a Kohen Gadol dies, and we don't have a replacement, then, you hear the Shaila, and we know the answer. When we said that there's no Kohen Gadol now. So you bring the holy Yisarin, and you don't divide it in half. We said it's a pasuk, you don't divide it in half. You bring the entire Yisarin. When? Do we do this twice, a full Yisarin? And the answer is going to be yes. A full Yisarin twice. One in the morning, one in the evening. Or perhaps you bring it once and you don't bring it in the afternoon. So we had this, you all remember this. There's, by the carbon Talmud, there are 13. Look how beautiful Yoshi did this. So Rabbi Isai, the carbon Talmud, 13 Kohanim took care of the carbon Talmud. Take a look at this. Look at this. Unbelievable. And we said that the cuts of the meat, you have to put it towards your body so you don't see, it doesn't look ugly, it looks beautiful, all thing. Carbon, Kayan number 8, what does he do? Kayan number 8, you can see over here, you zoom in on him, he's in charge of the chavitin, of the breads of the Kohen Gadol. Ooh, do me a favor, seriously. Maybe we should learn a little bit. No?
Good idea.
Wow, we just lost a lot of people to that competition one. Nothing but the daf. It's going to be a short one. Okay, so you hear the raya. Kaya number 8, he brings the chavitin. And if it's true that you don't bring mincha chavitin, the Kohen Gadol doesn't bring, not the Kohen Gadol is dead. So we don't bring instead, we only bring it once a day. So when you bring the carbon tamid at night, instead of having 13 kohanim, you're going to be missing number 8. He has nothing to do, number 8. What is he going to carry? There's no chavitin. Hechidami, the meis Kohen Gadol, in a case that we don't have a Kohen Gadol, what's number 8 going to do? So we don't have 8. Now we're going to learn straight. So they said this over to Rabbi Yirmiyah. Listen to this. Omar, these people that live in Bavel are stupid. You know why they're so dumb? He's talking about other Amoraim, because they live in a dark land. It's a land of darkness. And when you have Marash Chayra, and when you're depressed, you can't think well. What's the question? He says, well, you're asking me what to do with the number 8. And what are you going to do with number 7 and number 9? Number 7 is the one that holds the flour. Number 9 is the one that holds the wine. And you don't use them every day. Every single day you have to have somebody holding flour and somebody holding wine. Menachos in this game, it says in the pasuk, 2 words. What do? We learn from it. Balayla. That you could bring if you don't have wine that day, you bring it the next day. No, but the kohanim weren't schlepping it. So sometimes the kohanim, you don't have number 9. Sometimes you don't have number 8. You don't always have 13 kohanim. Elodei like Tani. We're not talking about if. Yeah, certain situations. If the kohen gadol died, you're right. You're not going to have number 8. Like Tani. Sometimes if you bring the mincha the next day, the silas and the yayin the next day, you're going to have two less kohanim. And if the kohen gadol dies, you're going to have 1 less kohen. Hadru kamei the Rava. So they say this over to Rava. Omar, mibishusin amri kamayu, mitivusin le amri kamayu. V'hodar, Omar Rava, and then says Rava, you know what? No, I was just thinking this morning. I did learn this morning, and I was thinking that maybe sometimes you have it's hard to say something bad about somebody. So it's not even. That's why I didn't want to say it. But when you say something negative, or they say, okay, let's talk about this. When you give a ha'ara to somebody in your family, to your child, let's say this, but you have to say before you say, you have to say tivusa. You have to give him the 10 shvachim before you say 1 not shvach maybe. Usually you're very smart, but today you were dumb. I hear Omakro Soilis Mincha Tamid. Says Rava, no, we were right. Why? Us in Babel were right. Soilis Mincha Tamid. We saw the pasuk the other day. It says by Chavitin, Soilis Mincha Tamid. Harei Lecha Kiminchas Tmidin. Treat the Chavitin, treat the Mincha of the Kohen Gadol like a carbon Tamid. That what? It's Daf Yomi. It's every single day. It's morning and evening. We never stop. Do we bring in Isaran in the morning and the evening twice, or just 1 Isaran in Shalom Yisrael when there's no Kohen Gadol? Oh no, it says Mefurish. Bring 1 full Isaran in the morning. Typically we take Isaran, we divide it. Half in the morning, half in the evening. Well, you don't have a Kohen Gadol? It's a new thing that the Torah says. A full Isaran in the morning, full Isaran in the evening. Let me ask you a question. When we bring in Isaran and we divide it in half, we also divide the frankincense in half, the levina. Yeah. We take a kmitza, and we do a half of the kmitza for the morning, because it's half of Isaran, and half of the kmitza in the evening. Yeah? When do we bring a full kmitza with 1 Isaran, and then in the evening a full kmitza, or no? Not kmitza of the levina. The levina, you go like this. How much levina do you take? A kmitza worth. So do we divide? Typically we divide it in half because it's only half of Isaran. So we give half of a kmitza for the morning, half of the kmitza for the evening. But today, that we don't have a Kohen Gadol this particular day, so we're going to do a fully sarn of flour and a fully sarn of flour. Does the fully sarn of flour require a full kmitza, or still the kmitza we're going to go half? Abi Yosi ben the Stoy Rabban. We have a machlokes. Abi Yosi ben the Stoy Omer. Mafresh lo shnei kmatzim shel levayna. Koyim Shabbos koyim shel ben arbaim. Sorry, I messed up. Every single day, when the kohen brings his mincha, every day, says Rabbi Yosi ben the Stoy that you do a full kmitza here. I forgot. I don't know what I did with maybe it's in the base measures. Says Rabbi Yosi ben the Stoy, you need two amounts: a full amount for the morning, a full amount in the evening. The Rabban say no, one amount, and you divide this in half. Half and half. Says we never find a half a shear. The shear is a kmitza. Who told you to divide a kmitza in half? We never found a situation that one isarin of flour requires two kmitzas. It's one kmitza per every isarin. Now it happens to be that you divide the isarin in half, so you have to divide the kmitza in half. Says Gemara Rabbi Yochanan, let us take it one more step further. Kohen Gadol shemeis. Now we're at that point. If the Kohen Gadol dies, and we don't have a replacement, Shiyavi says Rashi, Koimetz Shachar is a Koimetz Be'er. According to Rabbanon, the shaila is, do you bring a double kmitza or not? The Bishloim Elabi Yosi, Loim Boyle, Dolo Huchbal, Shiyavi Shnei Kamatzim L'chol Aktara, Dolo Yimzinu Shnei Kamatzim Aktara Achas. Says Rashi beautifully, the question is only according to Rabbanon, because it's impossible to have a question according to Rabbi Yosi, to Abba Yosi. Why? Because what are you going to say? That you should bring two kmitzas? What does he say? He says that every half you do a whole. Abba Yosi the story. Where's my thing? Here we go. This is Abba Yosi the story. Every day, two kmitzas. One for the morning, one for the evening. Now we have a situation, no Kohen Gadol. So you bring a fully sarin in the morning. So what are you supposed to bring? Two of these now? For every sarin, you divide it in half. Half a sarin goes this way, plus a full amount of kmitza. Half a sarin this way, full amount of kmitza. Now that we put the sarin together, we bring makriv the holy sarin in one shot. So what? You're going to do two bags of the levain? Impossible. So the question is going to Rabban. Do we say, look, we already established that you're going to bring a holy sarin in the morning and a holy sarin in the evening, so maybe you should double up the levaina. So instead of having one scoopful of levaina per day, you're going to have two, because you also doubled up. That's what Rabbi is saying. You're doubling up the sarin, you're splitting the sarin. Let's mimic the levaina with the sarin. Whatever the sarin requires, that's the levaina. No. The Torah said, bring a fully sarin in the morning, fully sarin in the evening. But the Torah never said how much levaina. Let's stick with the levaina, the original levaina. The Torah didn't say double up the levaina. V'shemen. And what about oil? Do you double up oil? We have a question according to everybody now. It says that there's 5 times that you do kmitza. Now, why doesn't it bring anything about a special kmitza that's done for the Kohen Gadol? If it's normal, regular kmitza, great. But if it's not normal, it should be in this Mishnah. V'misa zimnin mishkachas lo shiva. Sometimes when the Kohen Gadol dies, we bring a full kmitza of levaina in the morning, a full kmitza of levaina in the evening, and that's considered 2. Because anytime you divide it, it's brought in the Mishnah also. Even if it's in one day, it's considered 2. Says Gemara Di'i like Tani, just one case that if the Kohen Gadol dies, and you have to bring you do have to bring 2 levainas then, but it's not a shaila why it's not in the Mishnah. It doesn't belong there. What? Regular normal cases, correct. Yes, Rav Papa, become a little shmaito. Says Rav Papa. Rav Yosef bar Shmayo, Rav Papa says. So Rav Yosef says back to Rav Papa. One of the things over there in the Mishnah is that what if somebody brings a kmitza outside of Beis Hamikdash? Now that's not a normal thing. It's very unusual. Okay, good kasha. Allah. How much levina do we need when the Kohen Gadol dies? Omer of Nachman Yitzchak Tashma. Let me prove it to you. Zanya Kohen Gadol shemeis. Here, our case, Kohen Gadol dies. We don't have a replacement. Shlema shachris u'shlema ben arbaim. You give a fully start in the morning, fully start in the evening. Over here it says mufurish. This answers our question, but we don't know who goes according to. You give 2 kmitzas. Kohen ben shachris, but Kohen ben arbaim. Now, it'd be very easy to say that this goes according to Rabbanan. Let's see. Actually, Yosi ben, I forgot his name. Only 3 lug of oil, which means that we don't change the oil amount. It says 2 kmitzas of levina, but only 3 lug of oil. Lug mechsa shachris, lug mechsa ben arbaim, we divide it in half. Mani, ilem Rabbanan, it's a big problem. According to Rabbanan, you're doubling up the levina. You do double the amount, because according to Rabbanan, there's only 1 bag of levina every single day for the Kohen Gadol. Every day, only 1 bag. Now that he's dead, we do 2 bags. That's doubling up the levina. The problem is, if you're doubling up the levina, how come you don't double up the oil? How come it remains at 3 lug? It should be 6 lug of oil. So something's wrong here. It can't be Rabbanan. But if we say, Elo, Abba Yosef ben Nustai. This is perfect. According to Abba Yosef ben Nustai, how many bags of levana do we use every day? On a regular, normal day for every Kohen Gadol, 2 bags. 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. And that's what it says over here. You're not doubling anything. It says you bring 2 bags of levana. That's perfect. I call it bags. It's kmitzas of levana, yeah? Yo, every day of the year, when he's alive and well, you always bring 2 kmatzim, 2 bags. So we're not doubling up a levina. Over here in this brisa that says you bring two bags of levina, it's not double. And also, we go with 3 log, that's not double, everything is normal. So what do we see from here? Over the Shem and Lava Yosef and the Stoy Yuchbal. So Mela, since nothing's doubled up. So according to Rabbanan also, when the Kohen Gadol is not alive anymore, we don't double up anything. In other words, according to everyone, nothing's ever doubled. The only thing that's doubled when a Kohen Gadol dies is the flour. But we don't double up, not the levina and not the oil. And with this, we're going to be saying the perek, that every morning and every evening we bring a full amount of levina. So it'll be 2 bags of levina, let's call it. That's the halacha. Ask the Gemara, did he say this? That looks like a regular, like a Mishnah, anonymous Mishnah. And it doesn't talk about anything about 2 types of kmitzas for a minchas chavidim of a Kohen Gadol. So the Gemara right, there's a machlokes whether or not Rabbi Yochanan passing like Rabbi Yosef ben the Stoi. Hadron alachat cheles, Rabbi Sai. Have a wonderful Shushan Purim, Psuras Toivas.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDY.com.